Hello everyone. In this tutorial, you're gonna follow this instruction here with the knowledge that you got from watching the tutorial about camera sequencer, and just create a playblast of a very simple animation just as a practice, like a warm-up activity before you get to playblast from camera sequencer for your own project. I just want for all of you to do this in the class, so you have at least done it once before the submission for the critic session. So as you can see here, I created this plane and then I created this cube. I put two different materials on them. So I'm just going to select both of these and delete history on them and freeze transformation. Edit, delete all by type, history, and then modify and freeze transformation. I'm going to put this background layer into one of the display layers. I'm going to call this one BG. Save, and I'm going to set it to be reference so I cannot click on it. So I'm just going to create some meaningless animation because this is just a practice for using camera sequencer, okay? So at frame 1, I'm going to put this cube here, and I'm going to key the location. Then at frame 50, I'm going to move it here, and then key selected. At this point, I want to have this cube to jump up, so I'm just going to create keyframes for translate Y as well in this, because I want translate Y to be 0 from the beginning up until here, and then here I want it to just go up. So I'm going to move this up, and then key selected, this frame, key selected. Actually, I should have set it to 0 first. Then key selected, here we go. And then I want this to just start rotating probably. So let's just put some keyframe on this as well. Translate Y, key selected, and then from frame 1 to frames. This I'm just gonna make this middle click drag, remember? Oopsie, not all the rotation channels, just this one. I'm just going to put in 180 so it just does a full rotation, and then I'm going to say key selected. Okay, let's see what we got. It just comes here, goes up, rotates. Okay, it's just a really meaningless animation because we want to be able to use the camera sequencer. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to create a bunch of cameras, because in order to have different shots you need to have different cameras, okay? This is the perspective camera, so I'm just going to use create a bunch of other cameras. Panels, perspective, new, just going to call this one like master shot or full shot. You can just name it however you want. So I'm just gonna say camera full, and then I'm just gonna create another one, call this one camera close, and then I'm gonna create another one and call that one camera for motion, like when I want to have a camera that moves. Okay, MOT, that's good. Okay. So let's just set up a quick layout for these cameras that I created. I'm going to go to my custom shelf. Here I'm just going to go to the 4-side view. I'm going to set this panel to be my full shot, turning on the resolution gate. I think that's the one, hopefully. That should be the one. And then for this one, I'm going to set this to be my close-up shot, turn on resolution gate, and then for this one, I want it to be my, where did you go? My motion camera, okay? turn the resolution gate. So let's just set them the way that they're supposed to be, okay? So for this camera full, I want it to be like this, so I can see the full animation. So I can see that it starts from here, comes here, jumps up. So when it jumps up, it's not in the scene. Although I'm going to switch back. I'm just going to set something. Let's say that's what I want for the full camera. Then for the close-up camera, I want it to be close to where it kind of stands still and does its own like rotation, right? So let's see. Here. Maybe I should let it pause a little bit before it does the jump so we can use this close-up camera. So I'm just going to open up my graph editor here. And looking at the channels that I've got, translate Z, I can see that it kind of, let's see, all the channels. I'm going to select all of them. What I want to do is I want it to stay still for a couple of frames before it jumps up, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste these the keyframes here and just put them all a few frames forward. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to hold down Shift, click, and then copy. Then I'm going to move, let's say 10 frames, and then I'm going to do paste. Okay, so these are the keyframes that I have. So as you can see, the cube reaches here and then stands still because I copied and pasted these keyframes, and then it jumps up and does this. Okay. So here would be where I want the close-up camera. So I'm just going to close this graph editor. Oh, and save your save it, save the scene, and it's going to be ball animation. That's what I want it to be. I'm just going to call this one 02 camera sequencer _01. Save. Okay. So for this one, camera close. Let's see what we get. It reaches here and okay, that sounds good. Just gonna put it here. And for the motion camera, I want the motion camera to follow the movement of going up, right? So let's see. Just is here. So I'm just gonna get close to this. And let's just jump back to this view. And okay. Okay, so I'm just going to set a keyframe for this camera. To set the keyframe for the camera, you need to first select it. So this is select the camera. You select the camera, you set keyframes for translation and rotation, all of them. Okay. And then this is where it goes up. So I want the camera to follow it up. So I'm just going to move my camera like this. And then I'm going to set a keyframe here. So this is like a camera that follows, right? Let's jump back to this view. Oh, and I forgot to save this for view panel, the beautiful panels that I just created. So let's just do that. Edit. Layouts. And new layout. I'm just going to name this all for view 3. And then I'm going to select away from it. This is here, this is working. And then I say add to shelf, close. Okay. So now I always have it here. So I almost set up these 3 cameras. This one follows it when it goes up. So this is the motion camera, the close-up camera that kind of does, stays still and is looking at the cube in a closer view. And then I have this full camera that is the whole motion. everything is almost set. So let's just let's see what we can do with the camera sequencer. Okay, let's say we want to start with this shot, and we want to jump back to the motion camera when it jumps up, and then move to close-up camera when it rotates. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So I'm gonna go, let's just save this because I'm expecting a crash at any moment. You can hear my laptop fan going crazy, like woo. So yeah, let's see if it does crash. So to go to camera sequencer, you have to go to Windows and then Animation Editors and then camera sequencer. Okay. So you need to select. You can do it here by creating a shot. Let's just do that. Create shot, going to the option, and I'm going to reset this so it matches your setting. Starts at frame 1 and then 24. You can change all this stuff at any moment, okay? So don't worry about that. So new shot placement, current frame. So current frame is 1, so it's good. I'm just going to say, oh, the one thing you want to change is that you want to set it to create a shot from your camera full, which is this one, right? You want to start with that one. Create shot. Here we go. So there's our shot that is showing in the timeline of this camera sequencer from frame 1 to 24. Okay. So if I scroll over this, it's better to look at it here. So here's the thing that Vinny also mentioned in his tutorial, that you only see your shots when you're using the time slider in the camera sequencer. So remember that. If I go here, it always stays here. But in here, you're going to see that if I add shots here, it's just going to jump through them, and that's what we want. So I'm just going to scroll over the animation here because I want to see where should I end this shot, right? So it reaches here. So when it stops, I want this shot to stop. So now I can see that when I created this, the length of the shot is 1 to 24, so it only plays from 1 to 24. Now I want it to be at 50. So to change that, I'm just gonna drag this to 50. Okay? And now if I scroll over here, I can see that it goes through 50 and then it stops because I'm using the camera sequencer time slider and there's nothing after that. So it doesn't show the animation after that in the view, right? So now it's time to jump to the motion camera, right? So let's just do that. I'm just gonna create a new shot, and this one is gonna be from my motion camera. And start frame, I want it to be from frame 50 to, let's say, I don't remember that, maybe 60, but it doesn't matter, we can always change that. And new shot placement from current frame, which is at 50, which is good. You can always change all these things after you created the shot, so don't worry about that. Create shot, and it's putting it into the same layer. I don't want that, so I'm just gonna try to drag it into create shot, a new layer. Let's see if it can do that for me. Okay, here we go. And then I'm just gonna delete this one and then put shot 2 here. Okay, so let's see what we get. So this is the motion of the cube, then it needs more time to jump up. Let's see what we get if we go from here. So this is where we get the motion, the time frame from frame 60 to 75. Yeah, okay. $60 to 75. Okay, so you need to change this one. I'm gonna grab this, expand it to 75, and then grab this, put it to 60, I guess, right? Was it 60? And then move this here. This side of it you can expand it beyond this. It doesn't matter because this clip is on top of this one, so this is going to be played and then it's going to switch to this one. So the left side of it, if this layer is underneath this one, it doesn't matter. This part of the yellow one is not going to be played, right? Because it's underneath this layer. This is the top one and it's going to read it from the top to the bottom, okay? So now that I can see, it does this and then it jumps up. Maybe I want the beginning of the action in the camera full shot too. I think, and this is a good thing to remember, always make your cut in action so it doesn't kind of have this really pause and then it's time to switch the camera. This is not a natural cut, okay? So always cut in action. So for this one, let's see. This is where it kind of starts to jump off. So frame 62 would be good. So I'm going to change this to go through frame 62, okay? And then move this one here. Okay, so let's see what we get now. This is staying still, and then I'm going to cut in action again here. Let's see what happens here, because if I scroll here, I'm going to see the camera sequence. In here, I can see the whole animation. That's why I'm switching between the two, right? This would be like a good place to do the cuts. So it's 64. I'm going to change this one to 64. Then I'm going to match the two. This is more of like a natural cut, okay? Then I'm going to switch to this, and as soon as it starts to go down here, let's see what we get here. Then let's just add, this is my camera motion. I'm going to select this. And then I'm going to move down part to this camera as well. I don't like that it kind of goes up and kind of, is stuck up. I just want a little bit of downward movement to that too. So I'm just going to copy and paste this key here. So I get this coming up and down. So do that. I'm going to select this cube. These are the keyframes for the cube. Oh, I have to keyframe the camera, not the cube. Okay, sorry about that. So click this. So this is the camera. These are the keys for the camera. One thing you can do for copying and pasting the keyframes, this is kind of magical. You can middle click. Instead of clicking in the timeline, you can middle click. And the timeline view is not going to be updated. And then you can come in and just say key selected. This way you're copying these frames here. This would be one way. This is a tricky business, which I like. So you can try that too. So middle clicking doesn't update these values or the preview. So when you middle click and keyframe, it's basically like copying these keyframes here for anything that you have selected, right? So that's what I did. And now I can see that I have a move up and then move down. Kind of move up and then down. And then down, okay? I want it to be like this. Not exactly the same as the keyframes that it starts with, so kind of like this, okay? So here, let's see what we have. So if I scroll this from here, I see my first shot, then it kind of moves up and down. And I want it to kind of, the camera to kind of stay there before it moves down. So I'm going to Graph Editor, selecting the camera. Where's my Graph Editor? Here. So all these keyframes, I'm just going to hit F so it frames them all. And for the upward movement, just going to have it frame everything. So I'm just going to have this to stay there a little bit longer. If you do that, I think I don't know how to expand this. I know there was a way, but I don't remember it now. So I'm just gonna select the curve here and say right click, insert key. I'm gonna move this one up just a little bit down and then grab this handle so I have kind of a steel movement. Just a little bit of motion. So camera goes up, stays down, and then does this. Okay, that's more like it. Just gonna close the graph editor. Okay, sounds good. So here, let's see what we get. So I want to go this and then jumps up. And as soon as it starts going down, I want to switch to the close-up camera, to the full camera again. Okay. So to do that, I'm just gonna say create shot again to the full camera, and current frame sounds good. Start frame 50 to 80. No, I want from frame 80 to something. As I said, you can always change that back again here. So create the shot. Again, it puts it here. I'm sure there should be a way to tell it not to do that. So I can just... Okay. So the only way that I know how to do that is to create a shot, delete this one, which is stupid, I know, and then do this. But there should be a better way to do that too. I think if you just hit this one and then switch the camera. Wait, what just happened? Don't snap there. Or maybe that was good. Okay, yeah, I can have it here. Kind of goes up and then goes back to my shot 3, which is reading from camera full. It goes down. Let's just have it extended, see what we get here. Okay, and then I want to switch to the close-up camera. So let's just create that. Create shot. This time close up, camera close from frame 97 to 120. Probably that's too much. Doesn't matter. We're gonna edit that later. At the current frame sounds good. And just hit apply. Then it does that. Puts it in the first one. I don't know how to get rid of it, so I'm just gonna create a new. Okay, I'm just going to delete this one and put this down here. Okay, so let's see. I don't like that I cannot see my resolution gate when I have this one snapped. So I'm just going to do this so I can see what's happening. Let's see what we get from frame 1. Does this, then switches to this shot and goes down, and it does this. This is not a beautiful animation, but you know, it gets my point across on how to create like shots with different cameras, right? And you could see that you don't have to create like millions of cameras for different shots. You can use this full shot for all the shots that are like full shot, right? And you can keyframe that, or you can just create a bunch of cameras. It's your pick. You can do it however that works for you. Once it's done, you're done with this scene. You can see that it goes up until frame 121 in here. So this means that we might get a little bit of something here. Just gonna expand all this a little bit so they all overlap, so we don't get anything like, you know, a black frame or something like that. Sounds good. And everything is ready to do the Playblast. So you just go to Playblast and Playblast all shots. Let's see what we get. Or the sequence. Yeah, you can do the sequence because they're all in this one sequence. Let's see what we get. Movie, shot 1, format. What is this format? I don't know. I'm just going to say Playblast sequence H.264. This is for Apple. I think it's a different thing for Windows. It should be AVI or something, so you should choose that. And say Playblast sequence. Now you get this. And then you save it, right? That's all. Hopefully that's helpful. You do the same thing and create a Playblast and submit it for the assignment.